Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are here with Tanya Sunny once again to talk about intuition. I'm sure all of us have heard the word and how important it is, but what is it really and how does it play into our lives? So here we have Tanya, who is a psychoanalyst, astrologer, and many other titles that she will name off. But she will be here to explain to us why it's important to know and how to incorporate it into our lives. So take it away, Tanya.
Okay, hi Natalie, hi everyone. I'm very happy to be back today and to talk about this very interesting and important topic about intuition. And I would say that it's very timely and very topical now. Yes, first of all, because we're all going through the time of big, drastic global changes. Yes, and it's good to be guided by intuition during this time to find the right way. And secondly, because particularly in this month, at this period of time, we have astrological situation, which is very interesting. You know, the planet Mercury is overshadowed by the false mirrors of the black moon, which symbolizes our shadow part in each of us. And the planet Mercury is a planet of communication. Yes, it's a planet of knowledge, of information, of consciousness, intellect. So it's the only planet actually which helps us to go beyond the limitations of our psychic reality and to improve our life. So when it's overshadowed by the black moon, yes, we are lost sometimes in different circumstances. So we need to find some new and true knowledge which help us to change our worldview, to widen it. Yes, and to distinguish and to recognize that kind of knowledge, we need to use our intuition. So it's good nowadays to talk about intuition and to know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I caught you at such a good time then for you to explain this huge topic to us. And I guess my next question would be, what is intuition? What's your definition of it?
Yeah, let's remember first, what we call normally intuition. We call some ability of a person to get the answers to his questions or to know what is going around or to make the decisions instantly without some visible evidence base. Yeah. So in other words, like we know something, it seemed to us we could not know, and we call it like foresight or the sixth sense. Yeah. Some people they endorse it to some mystical properties and they consider it as a result of intervention of some higher powers. But some people they say about rational approach, yes, and um, they explain intuition with the help of experience and professionalism. For example, if the person has a corresponding appropriate knowledge, he intuitively recognizes the situation and makes the right decision for himself. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about what intuition from my side, from my point of view. But in
Hmm.
order to get to that point, first I would suggest to talk about why do we need to develop intuition. Yeah. So first of all, intuition helps us. It warns us about danger, and it can save our life, and not just our life, but maybe lives of other people as well. So I think you, me, everybody had situations in life when we listened to our inner feeling and we didn't go somewhere or we didn't do something, and then we escaped some difficult circumstances. Yes, and later on we will talk how I use my intuition to help other people. Yes, how I use it in my work. Yeah. Second, intuition helps us to get to know the world around, to get the universe, yes, and to make the scientific discoveries. Yes, because scientific discoveries, they are not made only on mathematical calculations or research results. Research results, yes. The scientific intuition is really needed. It's very essential. Yeah? And as deeper the intuition, as bigger the discoveries are made. And then the scientists are the pioneers which are paving the path to the future, the path of the progress for the whole humanity. That's how the comfort of our life develops, yes. And the third reason is that intuition helps to develop our creativity. Every artist, musician, sculptor um, um, needs inspiration, yes, to create something. If the artist, for example, creates some piece of art using only techniques which he knows already, or maybe the techniques from the heritage of the old masters, yes, he's able to create the work of art of finest quality, finest quality. But in order to create a masterpiece, he needs to get some very new and original idea, yes, through his intuition, which is called inspiration. So, intuition, as we see, yes, it helps us to save our life and to develop our life. Yes, so with the help of the intuition, we can find out about the future, about the past, about some other dimensions, or about other worlds. In other words, about something what we cannot see with our normal, ordinary vision. So, intuition is an insight which changes our vision of the world. So, in my point of view, intuition, it's a connection to your soul, to your spirit, and to the universal informational field. It's a knowledge about the true reality to which your soul spirit belongs. So, a lot of spiritual masters, if you remember, they say, don't trust your mind. Yes, follow your intuition, and the intuition which is installed inside of you by God. But very often they don't explain how exactly it installed in us. And we are going to talk about that today, how it's installed.
Yeah, yeah. And something I wanted to add is intuition. I know you mentioned a lot of artists and creatives that need it to kind of expand what they're doing with their art, but I think intuition is important for scientists and for people that are working with innovation and just developing new ideas. It doesn't only have to be art or music or things like that. I think even business leaders, they have to come up with new ideas that other businesses don't have as well. So yeah, I think that's really important to note as well.
Yeah, I think any
Mhm.
person, any professional,
Anyone,
is
yeah,
important. Yeah.
to get you out of any situation, really, even if it's interpersonal, maybe it's with your husband, your wife, anything you
Mhm.
need kind of to switch your mindset on. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think my next question would be, how does intuition work in your life? What's your opinion on the importance of it, and how does it work with your vision?
I think to understand that, let's first talk how it's installed in us, this intuition, how it's working. First of all, we have the reality, the world around us. Yes, this is a true reality, the reality of God. But each of us see it in our own way. Yeah, every person has a psychic reality. That's a big discovery of the Sigmund Freud. We all know it. Yeah. So this psychic reality, it's like we have the virtual helmet over our senses and our mind. Yes, and each of us sees own movie, but around us is a true reality. But everyone has a virtual helmet, yes, of psychic reality, and he sees the true reality through this helmet. Um, our sense organs collect the information about the world around, and they submit, yes, they feed it this information to our brain. Our brain starts working, processing the data, and then comparing this data to the memory database. And after, it provides us with a picture of the world. So we understand where we are now, and this is a table, this is a Natalie, this is a computer, and things like that. So we know where we are, and then we can build up our reactions, yes, and we know what to do. Several years ago, the British scientists they published their research where it said that it takes about half a second for the human brain to Photoshop the picture of the world for the person. You see, and actually, they made the results very public, and they made the whole documentary series, which is called The Brain. So you can find and you can watch it. It's quite interesting, really. So this visual helmet, yes, it determines how we build our psychic reality, and it determines the size, the capacity, and the quality of our memory database. Yes, which consists of personal, collective, of conscious, unconscious experience, everything together. Yeah? So this visual helmet describes what patterns of thinking we use, what models of behavior we use, yes, how we perceive, and how we react to the reality. So actually, when the people in the old times, they said that the world was Maya or an illusion. When Shakespeare said that the world was a theater, they were true. Yes, they were absolutely right. Yeah, because each of us sees his own movie. And the virtual helmet limits us to see some limited set of movies. Imagine that the true reality has a countless number and types of different films. We can see anything, yes? But through our virtual helmet, we can see only some specific films. For example, tragedies with some romantic scenes, yes, or thriller, something like that, yeah? So intuition, that's the knowledge about the true reality, which comes to us through our virtual helmet, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting. And how would you say someone can go about strengthening their intuition and kind of connection to the true reality rather than the movie that they're watching?
You know, it's a very good question because there is a true intuition. We said about it already, but there is a false intuition as well. Yes, it's like when sometimes we rely on our inner feeling, we follow it, and we get the good result. But sometimes we're 100% sure inside it should be like this. We follow it and we fail. Yeah. So what happened? It happened that we rely on some mistaken patterns in our psyche. You know, these some mistaken patterns, they were inherited. These patterns give us the false vision of reality, yes, and they can be inherited from our parents, for example, or from the whole humanity, from the collective level, or they can be formed during our life, you know, since birth or even before the birth. And mostly, these patterns which we used to protect ourselves. But they were useful for us and they were right in the past. And they're not appropriate for nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But we still use them, you know, wrongly in not appropriate circumstances, in the new circumstances. Yeah, so that's why we fail. We need to change them, but we don't know about that. You see, very often, because of these mistaken patterns, because of these errors in the seeing the world, the person can't even think that it might be otherwise. It's, for example, like a colorblind person. He sees the red color as green, and he's 100% sure that it can't be any other way. You see? So in the virtual helmet, in that place where the mistaken pattern is, there is no possibility for intuition to arise. You know, it's like a black spot. It's like a blind spot. So as more mistaken patterns we have, as weaker our intuition is. So the stronger intuition is, we have more knowledge about the true reality. So that's why, and that's the way how to strengthen and to deepen our intuition, is to develop ourselves. Yes, to get to know ourselves, to get to know the world around. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. And I think mindfulness and practices when you just sit in silence and really get to know yourself kind of push you out of those old frameworks that we kind of carry with us. Because there's so many stories where kids grow up with very poor families and they always see their family struggling with money. And then when they grow up, they can work and they can have a good job, but they have those inner beliefs that are tearing them down and saying money is scary. There's never going to be enough money. And it's just those things they grew up with that they have to be mindful of that is affecting them and they have to work on getting out of. So I think that's what you meant by those like old habits kind of carry on with you throughout your life, correct?
Yes, those things, yeah, because those things in the past, they were protecting us, probably those children as well, yes, and now they just stuck there. So if they find out about them earlier, they can get rid of them earlier, and then they can show their creativity, you know.
Yeah. So we mentioned why some people have certain ways of thinking now. It's because they carry on these old beliefs. Why would you say some people just have a stronger intuition? Not good or bad, not true or false, just stronger. And what does a strong intuition mean?
The strong intuition mean the person has a strong connection with the soul spirit and with the true reality. Yes. I would, the question why and for what is a different question. It's more connected to the predestination of the person and to the experience the soul wants to have during this life. So I think we can talk about that next time when we'll be talking about the destiny and free will. Yeah, I think it's a question to that topic. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Our next episode will be about destiny. So I think it ties really well with our first episode about intuition. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that conversation. And then you mentioned some patterns that people have, and those patterns can affect their intuition on having a false intuition. How would you say someone can go about recognizing these patterns? Maybe they don't even know they have them. So what is the first step on recognizing them?
First of all, yes, you need to want to change something in your life. Yeah. And then you can turn to the professional, to the psychoanalyst, for example, yes, to go to the therapy, or you can turn to astrology. Yeah, you can use the help of astrology because the natal chart basically describes the structure of your virtual helmet. So in the natal chart, we can see the mistakes of vision of the reality, and astrology can help can give you advice how to develop your consciousness and how to strengthen your intuition, your connection with your soul, because there are some signs in the natal chart which shows you which experience of your life is connected to the past and which experience is connected to your future. Which one is connected to the egoistic desires and which one is connected to the desire of your soul, which is a predestination in present, and that's where your intuition ability is described. Yeah. So during the astrological consultation, I help people to see the true reality. The red could be red, not just green. Like that. And actually, astrology can save you lots of time. The famous psychoanalyst Carl Gustav Jung was a great astrologer. And he used to say that knowing of the patient's natal chart helps to save up to 30 hours of therapy. So basically, astrology can help you to name these mistaken patterns. And then you yourself can decide and choose the way how to deal with them. I would recommend personally psychoanalyst therapy, because this is the deepest type of therapy, and it works both with conscious and unconscious, like that.
Yeah. Can you give me some examples that intuition has come into your consultation with a client in your astrology consultation and how they didn't even realize that it was their intuition? Do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, plenty examples, of course. First of all, I want to give an example how astrology, the astrological knowledge, can help people if they don't have this intuition themselves. Yeah.
Mm.
Very often when people come for the consultation and I start talking, they would exclaim, "Oh yes, yes, I know, yes, I felt it this way, definitely." You remember yourself, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
very often people come to get the confirmation, actually, and that is good because astrology teaches us to trust our own inner feeling, yes, and to develop, to trust our intuition. And sometimes I do this cosmic weather forecast for people, with different favorable and not favorable periods. And to one lady, I advised not to travel some certain time. And after 3 months, she gave me a call, and she sounded very happy. I was very surprised. She said, as soon as I arrived, I broke my leg. And I asked her, why you're so happy? She said, yeah, first of all, because already I'm recovering, yes. But secondly, because you were right. I wanted to check. Yes. So that was her experiment. Yeah, very harsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another case which comes to my mind, while one lady disregarded my advice not to travel because she had very bad eclipse influence on her maternity and feminine spheres.
Mm.
And, I advised her to postpone her business trip just for several days, like 2 or 3 days. But still, she insisted and she wanted to go. She didn't tell me, though. She went. It was her own decision. But next day, I got a call from her. She was ringing from London because she got very strong uterine bleeding. So the doctors, even British doctors, couldn't stop it for a long time. So she went through very big stress. Of course, at the end of the day, they stopped. I gave her some informational remedy. She came back home, but you see, she had to learn her lessons. If she wouldn't go, she wouldn't have all that stress, or maybe she wouldn't have that situation at all. From positive examples, I remember one lady, it was just not for a long time ago, during the COVID times. She decided, she followed my advice, and she refused from the trip, so she didn't buy the tickets, which were very expensive. She wanted to go for the seminar abroad. It was 1 month before the seminar, and it was a time when the COVID restrictions, were going stronger or weaker, so you never know what is going to happen next. So she rang me after some time, and she said that 1 week after our conversation, she got the call from the organizers of the seminar about the cancellation of the seminar. And then out of interest, she asked them what would happen with the e-tickets. For example, she bought the air tickets, and she said, "No, it's no problem. The tickets cannot be reimbursed because it's like a force majeure situation." So she would have lost a large amount of money. But plus, during the time when the seminar was supposed to be held, yes, to take place, the client herself got sick with COVID. So, of course, she was home and she recovered quite quickly and easily. But if she would be another in the foreign country, it would be much different. But you need to understand these restrictions to travel. These advices I give quite rarely. Only in special cases. Normally I would advise to pay more attention, yes, and to get some safety measurements, and it will be enough. Yes, but for sure I would advise to listen to what the astrologer says. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of your work, although you're reading and translating our charts for us, there's a lot of your intuition that comes into your advice. It's not just you're reading it and you're telling us exactly what it says. You bring some emotion and you analyze it and you bring your intuition. So would you say that's a majority of your work? And do you need a strong intuition to be a successful astrologer?
Yes, of course. But of course, astrological knowledge is very important. Yes.
Of course.
Before I will answer your question, can I just say one more
Of
case?
course. Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
from my practice is quite interesting, where I use purely my intuition. It's very interesting even for me. It was one lady. Um, she lived in the multi-store building. And one day,
Hmm.
the water supply got cut off, so it was no water. And she lived on the fifth floor of the five-store building. So she could have ordered the water from the supermarket, for example. But for some reason, she didn't think about that. You see? And she invented and she got different idea. She had empty plastic bottles, and she took them and went to the nearby source, the spring from the ground, some wells sometimes. So she put the water and she carried those bottles, which were heavy, yes, to the fifth floor, and then she went up and down several times. So it was no elevator in that building. So of course, after the lifting all these heavy things, she felt some tension in her body. Some pain was in her back. So she went to the doctor, and the doctor said that the kidney, which was only one, she had only one kidney from birth, and that kidney had shifted strongly from his place. And the only solution the doctor said was to make a surgery, yeah, and to hem the kidney back to the place. And because of the heart condition and because of other things, the woman was afraid of the surgery. So she came to me to find some extraordinary solution or treatment to see what else she can do, because she was advised that I'm unusual specialist. Yeah, so that's how she came to me. And when, first of all, having one kidney is already, some sign of inherited birth problems. Yeah. Secondly, when I looked into natal chart, I saw her difficult relationship with the father, and my attention was drawn strongly to his tragic fate. So she told me that her father committed suicide when she was still a schoolgirl, and that's when my intuition kicked in. Yeah? And I asked her, so which date exactly the father passed away? And it appeared that it was the same day when she was carrying these bottles with the water, these heavy bottles. And but you see, the woman forgot about that day completely. That's a property of our memory and our psyche. To displace some trauma, traumatic experience. So my intuition helped me to see how she was carrying the body of her father, trying to free him from the loop. So when she came back and when she saw that he was dead, but the woman denied it completely. She said, she was frightened and she didn't touch of the body, and she's sure in that 100%. So then I offered her to make some special body session, to use the bodily emotional release. And during the session, I asked her to tell me how everything happened during the day, when she saw. And then she started telling, and at some moment, the memory came back to her. And that was, she remembered that she was carrying the body, that she carried the body of her father. She was trying to release him from the loop, and that many years after, she was carrying those heavy bottles, in the memory of him. course, it was very emotional. Yes, first of all, that it's very emotional to go back to that time and to remember that everything, those tragic circumstances. But another thing which affected her very much, how she could forget first the date of the death, and secondly, how she could forget that she was trying to release him. You know. So you see, so we had a couple of sessions more, and this memory brought the release, to this woman. Of course, I couldn't help her to put the kidney back because I don't use this kind of techniques, but I advise her to find some specialist, with a particular techniques. And you see, the woman, I helped her with my intuition and with my knowledge to strengthen her intuition. I helped her to see, to get the knowledge about the true reality, what happened in reality. So using and thanks to this strengthened intuition, she found this professional next day. He just appeared in her environment. So in a few weeks, the lady was okay. So she avoided surgery. She healed the old trauma, and she strengthened her intuition. And that's how my intuition and my knowledge helped her. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that was an amazing case, really. And you should just only see the eyes of that lady, really. Unbelievable when she realized that, when she remembered that, they're still in front of my eyes. So answering your question about whether the good astrologer needs to have good intuition or not, I would say yes. The good astrologer is not just the person who knows the astrological language well, or it's not the person who knows the rules how to read the natal chart. Yeah? It's the person who has been developing constantly his own intuition, his connection to his soul spirit and to the universal informational field, who develops his connection to the true reality. So when you come to the astrologer, he can help you to see the true reality in the best possible way. So please have it in mind, everybody, when you choose the professional for your consultation. It's very important.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I've seen a few astrologers in my time, and I definitely can tell those that are not using their intuition and just reading like a chart to me versus when they bring their emotion and they bring their what they feel into the reading, and it changes it. It feels a lot more personal. And yeah, this was a really very informational interview. I learned a lot about how to strengthen my own intuition, why it's important to have it in general. And I would just love for everyone to get to talk to you and for you to read their charts and give them a little insight on where their path is. So we're going to link in the bio how to make an appointment with you. And if you need any other information, you can connect with me. My email and phone number are on Tanya's website. And then, yeah, like we mentioned, our next episode will be on destiny, which will be very cool to kind of piggyback off intuition and see how it all connects. And I'm just excited to keep learning with you. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks very much, Natalie, for your help. Yes, and I will be very happy to speak about the destiny. Yeah, that's really, really interesting.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for Destiny. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.